Hey guys, this is Jack from Team Empire, and I just want to say sorry for being so late on this. Normally I do first thoughts videos like on the day of the reveals, but since I was pretty busy on Tuesday and Wednesday, I didn't really have time to do the Dragontree reveals. But that's what I'm here for now. I'm going to be doing the Dragontree along with a little bonus. I'm going to be doing the two Greedon cards that were revealed for set 10 this morning. So you're going to get a little bit of a double feature for this first thoughts segment. So I just wanted to apologize for that. It won't happen very often. It's just stuff's been getting a little busy, and I honestly forgot about the Dragontree. So let's continue on. We're going to go over the Greedon support first. The first thing we have is a grade 1 rare, which is Desire Devil Gutoran, which says auto, when this unit is put into your soul from Rearguard Circle by the ability of your Vanguard with Greedon in its card name, choose one of your Vanguards and you may give it power plus 15k until end of turn, and if you do, it gets drive -1 until end of turn. This just doesn't seem very good. It seems like alright if you're going first, because like it increases the power, but most of the time your opponent's going to PG Greedon anyways, so increasing power on turn 3 doesn't really do anything, or just going to no-guard it. Plus, the fact that you have to reduce your Vanguard's drives in order to use it, it's just not worth it at all. I don't really think this card's that great. Plus, Greedon already gives himself plus 15k if you reach 10 or more soul, which is way easier now with stuff like Dofund. So I don't think the card's very good at all. A little disappointing because it has nice art, turtle. Next up is a card that actually is pretty decent. It's Desire Devil Fujo, which is a double rare, grade 2. It says auto, when this unit is put into your soul from Rearguard Circle by the ability of your Vanguard with Greedon in its card name, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it. Then auto from soul, when your Vanguard with Greedon in its card name attacks, cost bind this card face up. Until the end of that battle, when your opponent would put cards from their hand to Guardian Circle, and they must put 2 or more cards at the same time. This is basically a new version of Gomon, the grade 1 from the Ride deck. Now it's a little better and a little worse. This one's free, you just bind it from your soul whenever you need it. However, it's only for that battle, it's not for the rest of the turn. While Gomon's CB, but it lasts for the entire turn. So if you use stuff like Bubetsu, I think is the name, you can call stuff, and then even for your rearguard attacks, you'll need to use 2 or more from your hand to guard. But most of the time the attacks from the rearguards aren't really threatening Greedon anyways. So I think this one's a little cooler because it actually doesn't matter when you use the effects. You can have like 2 of these in your soul and then use them both for your first Greedon attack and your second Greedon attack. So you can make Greedon even harder to guard. And that first effect's pretty good too. It's completely free and it gives you a little bit of board control, which is good because Greedon didn't have board control, and I think every deck needs to have board control in some sense. Not to go overboard, but like having a little bit of spot removal for each deck is always nice because you don't want your opponent to just keep the cards on the Rearguard Circle so they can keep farming hand whilst not having to worry about their offense. So this card's actually pretty nice. I think that's a good Greedon card. This first card, a little disappointing. The second card though, pretty good. Now we'll go over the Dragontree cards. So first card we have is the starter, which is not the typical starter at all. It's Godifo Seed. So it says you can have a total of 5 cards in your Ride deck, made up of this card, 3 Calamity cards, and an Overtrigger. And then, I forgot to mention, he's nationless. Then, Continuous Vanguard Circle. This unit gets 2k power for each Calamity card with a different card name in your soul. Then, Auto Vanguard Circle. At the beginning of your main phase, choose a Calamity card from your Ride deck and put it into your soul. Cost: put 3 Calamity cards from your soul that were in the Ride deck into the Ride deck face up. Search your deck or hand for up to 1 Dragontree of Ecliptic Decimation, Godifo Gila, Ride as stand, and if you searched your deck, shuffle your deck. If you wrote a card, choose 2 of your rearguard circles and put a Dragontree marker on each of them. For those of you who don't know, the Dragontree marker says that if you have a Dragontree or a Masquez Vanguard, all units within those circles will get plus 5k power. We'll talk about that in a second. So, this is not a typical thing at all. We'll talk about this a little bit. So, the fact that you have to put you don't ride in this deck. You stay on grade 0 for 2 of your turns, which means this deck cannot rush at all. Like, there's no way for this thing to rush unless you're playing Dragon Empire and you're playing Trickstar. then you could put it behind your Vanguard and make it kind of hard to guard. Other than that, I don't really... But it gives you a huge payoff for riding on turn 3. Turn 3 gives you immediate payoff by not only giving you a grade 10, which we'll talk about in a second, but also giving you the 2 markers, which will power up 2 your rearguard circles while also giving 10k to your Vanguard. So immediately this thing can have an explosive turn 3. But it is slow, so this gives your opponent the chance to rush you. Next up, we have the 3 Calamity cards. These all have the same effect, and we know what they did from set 8, but they just have new artworks. Beginning of the End, Ill-Omened Transmogrification, and Coming of Demise. They look really cool. They have much better art in this version. And then finally, we have the Dragontree card himself, which is Dragontree of Ecliptic Decimation, Grifogilla, who says continuous on Vanguard Circle during your turn. This unit gets plus 5k power for each Dragontree marker on your rearguard. If you have 3 or more Dragontree markers, this unit gets critical plus 1. Then, auto Vanguard Circle once per turn. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, choose a face-up Calamity card from your ride deck and remove it. If you did not remove a card, choose an over trigger from your ride deck, reveal it, then activate all of its trigger effects and additional effects. Remove it and stand all your rearguards on rearguard circle with Dragontree markers. So this is obviously really good, really strong boss. It gets power for free for each Dragontree marker, and if you're using the Dragontree rearguards who can generate more Dragontree markers, they can power this guy up and get crit pressure, which is good because one of the strategies of this deck is to keep your opponent at 3 to 4 face down damage, keep swinging with the Vanguard which has crit pressure. Your opponent's going to want to guard that, and then you just swing at the rearguards or just don't attack with your other rearguards, so you can try to get to that over trigger condition. As for like what nations are best with this, I think one of them that's the best one is Dragon Empire, because Dragon Empire can stand the Vanguard. On top of that, Esperidea is a grade 4, and because it's a grade 10, you can actually play Esperidea regularly without having to jump through any hoops like Eugene. So there's actually a combo where you can get 8 attacks with this. Obviously Brandgate's pretty strong because it's one of the strongest over triggers. I think Keter is probably one of the worst win cons out of all of them, because this is a turn 6 mechanic. You have to go into the late game in order to use this, and Keter is a thing that gives you drive checks. So maybe for a Keter deck, if you wanted to play this, you could play the regular generic over trigger just to have 2 100 million attacks, because I don't really see the Keter one as like an optimal win con. But yeah, I mean, this is really cool. This is much cooler in my opinion than Gize, because my problem with Gize was like every Gize deck kind of played the same or had the same win con. You know, like you just go to your 5-0 dragons and then you just win the game. This one, you actually play a strategy around this thing. So you can play like an order build with Stoichia, a plan token build, you can play a prison build, a world build if you're playing Brandgate, you could play a overdress build with this, or you can just play a retire build with it if you're playing Dragon Empire. Like, there's a lot of potential with this card, the more just cards we get for each nation. And who knows, maybe if Lyrical gets a Dragontree card, we'll get Lyrical Dragontree. I could see it happening. So overall, I think the Dragontree is a really cool final boss. And like I said, we have the Dragontree marker, which says if you have a Vanguard with Dragontree or Masquez. We don't know anything about Masquez. Probably just going to be a ride line set 10, since it is called Dragon Masquerade. So it's going to be pretty cool to see what that card is. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Sorry I was late with this one, just pretty busy with stuff. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know what y'all think about the Dragontree below, and the Greedon support. Let's not forget the Greedon support. Thank you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.